Elizabeth Warren's town hall focused quite a bit on some of her economic proposals, which is great. We did talk a little bit about her proposal to alleviate student loan debt. But what I thought was important, and she did do this during the town hall, was talk about her own story and how she found her way up the economic ladder due to opportunities that are not easily accessible these days for young people. So I want to go to her story and how she found herself in a good situation with the community college. Let's take a look at video 8.
There was no money in my family. And by the time I graduated from high school, there was no money even for a college application, much less to send me off to 4 years of college. So I have a kind of twisted story, like some Americans do. We're not all on a straight line on this. And mine is that I won a scholarship. Yay. And then at 19, I fell in love. Yay. And then I got married. Yay. And then I dropped out of school. Yay. And I took a job answering phones. And I thought that was going to be my life forever. A good life, but not the dream I had. And then I found a commuter college that cost $50 a semester. And for a price that I could pay for on a part-time waitressing job, I had a chance to get a 4-year diploma and become a special needs teacher. I have lived my dream. And that's what I believe is the best of America. When we open more doors for more people, I want to live in an America that's not just about opportunity for those born into privilege, but that's about opportunity for all of us. And that's what we can do. Just those few pieces I put together. A 2-cent wealth tax would let us do universal childcare, would let us do universal pre-K, would let us do universal college, would let us knock back the student loan debt burden and still have money to spend. I think that this is the case we've got to make against Donald Trump.
So let me just note that you can find detailed policy proposals from Elizabeth Warren. Out of all the candidates, she has been the one who has put out a slow and steady stream of detailed policy proposals. So she doesn't just talk the talk, she walks the walk. And her answers in this town hall were incredibly long because she has detailed policy proposals to cite.
Yeah. And it turns out pathway to being an excellent progressive is by waitressing first.
I know, I thought about that.
So we've got a common theme here. Look, a lot of people, Paul Ryan's the best example of this, unfortunately burned down the bridge after they cross it. So Paul Ryan, former Speaker of the House for the Republicans, got Social Security money because his dad passed away. That's what Social Security, part of what Social Security is for. And so it allowed him to go to college and it gave him an opportunity, a fair chance. And he took that chance and he became a slimy politician that does donor bidding. But he became famous, rich, successful, etc. And afterwards, once he got into Congress, he was on a warpath to cut Social Security. Because that's what Republicans do, they burn the bridge after him. And Elizabeth Warren was the daughter of a janitor whose main dream in life, as she just explained, was to become a teacher for kids with special needs. And then she wound up doing all of these amazing things because college gave her a fair chance. And this is what a lot of the older generation doesn't understand, but Elizabeth Warren does. It's not the same as when you were growing up. No one's going to school for $50 tuition. That's not a thing. It's not anywhere near a thing. Right now, if you're going to the Ivies, it costs you about $75,000 a year in just tuition.
And Amy Klobuchar will allow you to refinance those loans.
So here's Elizabeth Warren saying, look, I want you to have the same chance I did. It's called the American dream. And it is eminently affordable. That 2-cent tax that she was referring to is her ultra millionaire tax. It is 2% of the wealth that they have taxed every year above $50 million.
Can we actually go to her answer about that? Because she managed to talk about her wealth tax throughout the town hall. It was interwoven in a lot of her answers. So let's take a quick look at this video where she talks about it in a little more detail.
If we put that 2-cent wealth tax in place on the 75,000 largest fortunes in this country, 2 cents, we can do universal childcare for every baby 0 to 5, universal pre-K, universal college, and knock back the student loan debt burden for 95% of our students and still have nearly $1 trillion left over.
So if, look, I know a lot of people think that the estate tax is gonna affect them. I know, brother, you're gonna win the lottery and so am I, right? But this is for people that have more than $50 million. And the first 50 million, gratis, okay? Above $50 million, it's not like they take all the money. It's a 2% tax on their wealth, not their income, their wealth, okay? And it raises $2.75 trillion. And it allows for everyone else to live the American dream. How could that not be reasonable? So she has an exact way to pay for it. It reopens up a fair chance for everybody. It lifts student loan debt, which is an albatross around our neck, off of our necks. And it allows us to spend, to start businesses, to do all these things. I mean, when you compare it to some of the other candidates running who were like, well, I don't really have any policies. It's not close. It's not close. And look at how the corporate media reacts. So, Elizabeth Warren, Native American something. Donald Trump says something racist about you, and he wins. And then some guy who's not saying a damn thing about his policies, they're like, ooh, you see how he can play the piano? You see how he went to the dentist? You see how he speaks Norwegian? You see how much he cares about his wife? Policies that affect us, not that impress Joe Scarborough.
I know, but it's funny because politics, I think, it's very similar to the media business. In the media business, it's not about how much you know, it's not about how skilled you are, it's not about how intellectual you are, how talented you are. It's about the buzz, right? And so with these candidates, I'm noticing that someone like Elizabeth Warren, there's no buzz because she's all about substance and she's all about policy. And you watch her speak and she's a professor. Let's keep it 100. I love it. I love professors, right? That type of one. Well, that type of communication, like it really speaks to me and I understand it and I love it. But she's not flashy. She's not, this character. She's a professor who has substance. And unfortunately in American politics today, and the way the media treats people like her, she's not sexy enough to get the kind of buzz and coverage that she deserves. And that's really a travesty when you consider how awesome her proposals are, whether it's the wealth tax, whether it's doing something about student loan debt, whether it's breaking up the big tech companies. She has delved into every single one of these issues with real solutions. But there's no buzz.
But I don't think it's all that she's not sexy enough. I think she's really posing a threat to the establishment.
That's true too, yeah.
And so of course they're gonna try to keep quiet because all those media companies, all of that stuff is all tied in together, right? They're all getting dollars for pimping the people. And so here's this woman who's talking about stuff that really poses a threat to a lot of people in their pockets. Because the last time we did this, I was thinking like, why do these journalists bang so hard for the super wealthy? Like, why is it so important for them? And why do they get so offended when AOC and all of them talk about taxing the upper 2%? And it's because they all got their hands out and everybody's handing somebody something. And we gotta stop getting pimped, right? We gotta, at some point, we really have to really care about each other in order to survive. And we also have to say, this is not okay because they're not thinking about us. And I think that's the biggest misconception when I have friends who are celebrities and they make money and they really think that them and Warren Buffett are like on the same level. And I'm like, no, you're one of us to them, right? And that's
a good point.
You know what's, you brought up the buzz thing, which is something that's been really bothering me. And almost every time that I talk about Elizabeth Warren now, I have to talk about that because we've been trying to break down all of her plans and it's not really helping her in the polls. It's not helping me with the views because nobody watches those videos, really depressing. but they don't have buzz, even though she could. Like, okay, so Buttigieg plays the piano, Beto jumps on things. Those are fine, you can write articles about those. Have you seen Elizabeth Warren's dog, Bailey, golden retriever?
No, I have not.
I don't know if I can bring it up really fast for you, but it is one of the, look at this dog. That's the cutest dog ever. Why doesn't Vanity Fair have a
She's got a cute dog, everyone.
She's obsessed, yeah.
How do we use the dog to get more buzz?
It's so cute, there could be a thing about that. She's obsessed with Dolly Parton. That's weird, write an article about that. Why does she love Michelob Ultra over all other beers? That's what I'm saying. These are true. Every one of those things is true about her. And it is at least as interesting as he speaks Norwegian. Okay, nothing against Norwegians, it's a language, I guess. She was a star debater, she won state championship in debating, which seems relevant to politics. You could write articles about any one of those weird things, plus a bunch of other that I don't even know about. It's what they choose to focus on.
Right.
Yeah, so John is making the same point as Aida with using a dog as a prop.
I'm pandering.
So yeah, and so they're choosing to focus on Beto and Buttigieg because they're offering nothing. And they're choosing to not focus on Elizabeth Warren or to attack her because she is offering something. And so that's the difference between us and them.
Oh, and can I just add really fast to that? Where I'm getting all of this from was someone actually did write an article about this, because if they didn't, I wouldn't even know about it. It was Michelle Ruiz of Vogue writing an article, women candidates have fun hobbies too, they just don't get to talk about them. And she talks about Elizabeth Warren as well as a bunch of others. It's not just Elizabeth Warren, it's mostly Elizabeth Warren, but it's not just. All these women candidates, I mean, I guess we're interested in their clothing choices, but anything more personal to them doesn't get to be a fun accessory to their life. We judge them in a very limited range of ways that generally are not to their advantage.
Yeah, so why are we leaning towards Warren and Sanders? And that's obvious, right? And we're always honest about our perspective, and not leaning towards Beto O'Rourke and Buttigieg at this point. Well, it's not like we had, like Elizabeth Warren's, is she your aunt? Anybody? Aunt, cousin, sister? No. Right?
Never met her in my life. Well, actually, Bernie, I have met her in my life.
Yeah, I know. Right. But that was because we were interviewing her. Yeah. But so, and Beto O'Rourke, we've met him plenty of times, and he came into the studio, had many interviews with him, and I was a big fan of his. But as they're running, Beto and Buttigieg have said nothing. And they've been relatively proud of saying nothing. Well, then you're not gonna get the support of educated progressives. You're just not. So, I mean, look, you can get it for a little while of some Democrats like, oh my God, he also speaks Farsi. Like, and I love that he speaks Farsi and Norwegian. That's great, I want an intellectual president. So we had a completely open mind to Buttigieg, more than an open mind to Beto O'Rourke. Was looking forward to Beto O'Rourke. But when you come out and you go, I'm playing a cute game here, and I'm trying to get the corporate media and my donors on my side while saying nothing so I don't lose your vote. No, not interesting, not cute. Elizabeth Warren, policy after policy after policy. Love it. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.